Okay, well, I am back. Sifu David Ackrish with Black Dragon Modern Combat. We've gone through Christmas, gone through whatever, Thanksgiving, um, and now it's freezing here in Albuquerque. But welcome everybody, welcome new subscribers. Things have kind of gone dormant. That's winter anyways. But I finally have a chance to come outside and continue the stick and the Y weapon training videos and the continuance of all those ideas. If you're new, please go back maybe and check out the different types of weapons I talked about, the heavy ones, bladed, training weapons, and maybe just why you might want to train with a weapon if you're not. This is, is this a beginner? Sure, it's a beginner video. There's a lot of good stuff out there. More, to me, better information and content on the Filipino martial arts or Indonesian and knife, and so there's a lot, and a lot of it is very good because it's based around kind of the same concepts and ideas. So it's not a contest of this is right or wrong. That's not how you do it. So there is really a lot of good stuff. So you'd have to go out and research different styles of the Filipino. See, the thing is it just Filipino? No, but it is kind of a blanket idea or label of FMA, Filipino martial arts. So you can go there and then kind of break away, and you'll see other different types of ideas and systems. Kali, Escrima, modern Arnis, Silat, go on and on. There's a really great guy that is funny that he just did a video on this one guy's channel where he was invited. So this guy he's much more open. I like this karate guy. He's very open to looking at other things and bringing people in and being realistic about it. And so I think he was pretty blown away by this Silat master, and so I thought that was great. And he was just doing, I think, open handed and talking about knife. This man is wonderful. I'll say his name is Mel Morney, and so you might be able to find him. A million videos, very instructive, realistic to me, and he seems like a really great person. So well-rounded and all that. So anyways, so a couple of things I was going to say is, this is, again, just an introduction and to kind of get you interested into, like, well, maybe I can add weapon training because it's completely different. I've said it a zillion times on the other videos. It is not the same as an open hand class or open hand training or open hand system. It just isn't. And even if there's weapons in some schools, they're, to be kind of harsh, a lot of them are kind of dumb and they're not brought up to the modern times. They're not realistic enough to me in what you might need if something happens in a situation. Now, one guy said this before, because I've heard it all. Why am I going to train with those? I'm going to put them in my back pocket. I'm not going to carry those around. The mentality of thinking when you train on something, any type of weapon, even something from ancient China, or the katana, for instance. I teach the katana, but it's geometry, it's movement, it's reaction, it's speed, it's lethality. Is that a word? It's something lethal, and so there's no time expiration stamp on. Now, some things, okay, so not to be hypocrite, some things are done kind of, it's how it's being done is like ridiculous. And nobody moves like that. So it's more about the movement and then and then the weapon itself, whatever it is. And in the end, it doesn't matter what weapon you have in your hand, if it's an ancient sword or it's how you're moving and how you're understanding it. And a lot of the modern ideas have come up to and maybe they go back. See, to me, is maybe someone was a great sword master, and that sword application or movement, there's no, again, there's no timestamp on it. It can go all the way forward. Maybe the same ideas can move all the way forward. There's a book, The Book of Five Rings. If you read about it, it's the ideas are incredible. They're not like ancient ideas. They're just ideas that are, they're either proper and incredible and helpful, or they're not. And so, but I will say that there are some schools where you're moving like a robot, and it's like if you move like that, you're going to react like that, and you don't want to. You want to react lightning fast. Speed is a big part of weapon training, but it's a big part of your own training. And so I saw another video where a guy was talking about speed, then in the end he goes, is it that important? Because he's not very fast. And I'm like, yeah, it's really important. Speed is extremely important. Is it everything? No. But is it is it something of reality? Yes. And you can't just train in a robotic, stiff, archaic way. And so, especially with the Filipino martial arts, you're moving fast. Things are moving fast. They're reacting fast. The idea of just a weapon in your hand, it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And it puts you in a different mind frame when you're training with the weapon or watching the weapon come at you. It's another world. And a weapon's a weapon. A weapon is something that's deadly. And so it can be part of your arsenal if you want it to be. And I think it's very, very important. I'm actually listening to a book on Wing Chun, and the guy teaches weapons, and he just doesn't teach the weapons of Wing Chun. He says we need to move, and it's funny because I've listened to two books now. There's not a whole lot of books on it, but two books, and they're both, one's kind of saying this. I liked what the person was saying, the author, about how improper training is happening. And it's funny when you hear in a book they're talking about YouTube, that it's like modern times, and ranking on it, like ranking on the stuff that they're seeing. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty potent. That's how I feel. And then even the next book is even more in depth on the idea of reality and talking about more modernized weaponry or bringing weapons or more modernized Wing Chun for now. And he's ranking on the way I see. It's not. I'm not trying to rank, but we have to be realistic on what are you learning and how is it really something that's benefiting you, or are you just carrying somebody else's water and it's kind of meaningless. And so you can decide that. It's not up to me, but I do see a lot of stuff that I'm like, I wouldn't do it, and it's a waste of time. And so as far as what my goals are, so my goal for you today is just to get us started on what I believe is especially coming from the Filipino martial arts, but it applies. I'm telling you, I teach all Chinese weapons and the Japanese katana. I call it modern katana, and it's wicked. And so it isn't like something and it applies to how we move and who we are right now. So anyways, but so does this. So this is very common, and this is a Kali stick or Escrima stick, or maybe I've never heard it called a modern Arnis stick, and it's a rattan stick. They're not very expensive. Usually it's about 28 inches. They're shorter ones, I think 26 inch. I like this one, so I think it's 28 inch. Some of my favorite ones. I've kept it taped up because they do start shredding apart when you start training with another partner. And so anyways, finding a school. So this is about getting you going. This isn't a complete, and I'm going to do a lot, but it's still not complete at all. You have to be training. Well, okay, let me go back a step. It'd be nice if you could be in a school and training under a good instructor. And you're going to learn a lot. You need to be around other people. It's nice. It's social. It's a gathering place where people have common thoughts and common ideas on self-defense, whatever, close quarter combat. And so, so I think that'd be very good if you can find a school. There's a lot of schools, and it's more common than you might think. So if you look it up, you might have to drive a little bit, but I say, go through what I'm going to show you, but try to find a school. if that's what you're interested in. So otherwise, this will get you actually somewhere. We'll get somewhere with this, I promise you. The other note I have here is to hang a bag or a tire so you have something to hit. So this is my Mokjong, my other one, but I have a pad on it. And so you need to feel what it feels like to strike something and to react, how it reacts and comes back at you. So you need to hit something. It's good for you anyways, mentally. It actually is good for you to release energy, release emotions. It's good for your liver, which is good for your digestion. So anyways, good for your blood, just for longevity. So think of it that way. So a tire or just some type of bag, find a place to hang it or wrap it around a pole or something. So I think it'd be a very good thing, and just to hit something. And then something harder is to find a partner. So if you can find a partner and see some partner drills, there's tons of stuff, like I said, on YouTube, that might be a really good thing too. So if you could find somebody, even if they're holding the stick for you, so you can feel what it feels like to strike the stick, strike to the other side. It's like, oh, this is nice, it's fun, something to do an hour once a week or something, and build up your skill. And then my last point is daily training. So preaching the same old preach, daily training. Try to do something, even if it's for, and even when I train during the day, for 1 to 2 hours or whatever I do, it just depends. At night, I always train for about 20 to 30 minutes with either training with just some type of weapon, short weapon, training knives, whatever. I do, that's what I do. Some people are more morning people. You could do like a morning of 20 minutes of just doing some strikes or doing over and over and over and over, whatever. Like I said, you can find stuff. I'm going to give you some ideas. And so even if that's all you're doing, trust me, you're building a skill. You are building pathways, neural pathways. You're training your ligaments, your tendons, you're getting faster. I say that when you train with a weapon first, which one of the few schools of thought is the FMA, where they put a weapon in your hand from day one, it accelerates. It's the fast track on empty hand and other ideas. So it's just a great thing. If you're already doing some empty hand stuff or whatever, you want to add this in, even if you're doing maybe Tai Chi, but you're really not doing any combat stuff, this may make you feel a little bit better about what you're doing. Then you kind of see maybe, what is that Tai Chi movement where I'm press or whatever, and I go, oh. So kind of bring the two ideas together of empty hand, your movements, and then how a weapon fits into it. So there's my little bit of rant. I hope everybody's doing well, and I thank you for watching this video. My wife's working really. She went way overboard on this Mars astrology thing that we're talking about for the Common Day Warrior, and so that's coming up. It's really close, and I'm like, I didn't expect all that, but she kind of bites into something and then she goes for it. So it's cool. So anyways, so that's gonna look really cool. She's gonna make me look bad because she's doing like a video thing and all that, but no, she's gonna make me look good. So anyways, so let's get started. The first thing that I do in many classes is part of stretching, leg stretching, all that. But I think a place that gets ignored a lot is, and I don't even know in a Wing Chun school how much people put time. Actually, a lot of my schools never did, which is kind of funny. But it was more in the Charlie Futt school where we did more wrist and arm warm-ups. And so I call it activation. So the very first one I'm going to show you is 3-part. And this is a wrist and hand stretch. And you want to be very careful. You want to go really slow. I don't care how flexible you are. Take your time, because most of us are very tight in the wrist area. It's just a place we don't stretch, like I said, or just in general because we're just doing things that it could be a little bit tight, your forearms. So just take your time. And if you're not that flexible, you'll become more flexible, and then maybe look into more of a flexibility training of the arms. But anyways, in wrist and hand and fingers. So because we use our arms and hands all the time, but do we really take very good care of them? Maybe I'll get into a little bit more of the massage, Chinese massage too. So anyways, and it can help with a lot of things. I had a student who had pretty bad arthritis and wrist, and even in a couple months of training, already started changing dramatically just through going to warm-ups of the Wing Chun class. And this is a part of, a part of it. So number one, I'm wearing like 4 things here because it's like freezing. It's in the 20s. But anyways, who cares? I'm going to put my arm straight out. So it's kind of, or wear the stripey thing, the Adidas thing. So you can kind of see that I'm locking the elbow on this one. So you can lock your elbow, and then that's 1, and then bend the wrist. That's 2, and I'm bending it inwards. And then I'm going to take my other hand, and I see a lot of people miss the thumb. You want the thumb incorporated. So it's thumb, hand to hand, all parts of the palm. And we're just going to put some light pressure and stretch. So you're going to feel it. Each person's going to feel this in a different place. Your forearm, your shoulder. And it's easy for your shoulder to creep up, so try to keep it down. And then I'm just doing a stretch. And you can hold it for 30 seconds. Some people say longer. 30 seconds is a really good amount of time. Don't put too much pressure on it. Okay? So I've done a lot of this, and you can see how much I can bend. And this came from Charlie Fight, years of it. So some people might just be like this. You might just be like this. You might be like this. So I'm pulling back. But if I go like this, I can go pretty far. So the arm has to be locked. That's 1. And then number 2, to put the pressure, the hand placement is number 2. So it's a 3-part. And then number 3 is to apply light pressure. And you feel a little bit of pain. And you hold. Okay? So we're going to do that on the right and the left. So let's just do it. So let's stay on the left hand. So now from the palm, I'm going to curl in, make kind of what's called a crane's beak, and then cover the crane's beak. Okay. And you probably get the idea. Lower my shoulder, my arms locked, create the crane's beak, and then apply the pressure. So in essence, we're trying to touch our fingers to the inside of our forearm, the anterior side, posterior, anterior. Okay, so I'm going to hold this. Okay, we'll say that was 30 seconds. And then don't just let go, but relax and let it flow open. I let it flow open to where you're almost making like a snake. And then just relax. Very good. So we're warming up and stretching our wrist in one fashion. Okay, so arms straight, palm pulled in and in, light pressure, and release your shoulders. My shoulders are going up because I'm holding this up, but you can go down. So now I'm out of view, but that's okay. So relax, rotate, arms straight, crane's beak, thumb is in, it's not out, it's in. I'm going to put some light pressure. And hold. Okay, then when you release slowly, because you're putting a lot of pressure, even if it's slight pressure, on your tendons, your ligaments, blood vessels, nervous system. The wrist is an interesting area. And if you've seen the Mokjang, I really use my wrist and hand a lot. I do things a lot. So using that, I do a lot of weapon trading, a lot of spins, turns. So anyways, you really want to take care. Oh, one other thing I was going to show you is just to do, and don't worry about the meridians, but there's a lot of acupuncture or meridians or channels in your arms. And so you can just go down doing kind of like this, and just getting in. You can get in your bicep, your tricep. And if you have a good partner, you ask them to do it. And it's just different when somebody else puts the energy into your arms. When I do my wife's arms, she loves it, and I love it. It's an amazing feeling. And I'm going all the way down, and what you can do is go in between each part of your metacarpal area and kind of squeeze in between, go all the way down your fingers, do a little bit of squeezing, not too tight, get in here a little bit, open up the meridians. It's really good for you. In between here is the heart and small intestine, so that it just makes your hands feel good. and it opens up, and that has helped with just that. Instead of going seeing a rheumatologist, I'm not telling you what to do, but who wants to take drugs and all that stuff or anything? So if you just do massage, you can actually open up the energy and open up the flow. Okay, so anyways, I'll just do a little bit on this hand, this arm, little finger. Don't worry about the order. Get in between. It can hurt a little bit. You'll feel like weird nodules and stuff open up. Fingers, large intestine, lung. You know, that's a pressure point. A lot of people show that one. It's good for headaches. It's for the sinuses and for the lungs and for the large intestine. So that's a good one, but it's also for, points can go one way or the other. So the dark side and the good side. That's just how it works. Okay, so I think we've gone through that. So this is all about warm-ups, activation. So now we're going to take our stick, and like I said, you can find these. Maybe I'll put a link somewhere that I think might be a good place, but I think FMA Policies sell them. That's where I might have gotten this. But anyways, I'm going to hold this stick right in the middle. Now, here's what we don't want to do, is bend our wrist inwards like that crane's beak, or outwards. We want it in alignment. So it's like a Wing Chun vertical punch. See the lines? That actually has worked out, okay? So we don't want to go this way or this way. We want it in alignment. It's very important. And what we're going to do is hold it upside down and then start twisting. And so I don't want to twist where you see like that. I want to keep it even. And then start turning. So I'm going to go from all the way from here. It doesn't matter which way you start. And start turning till you feel some P-A-I-N. That means pain. Then I'm going to rotate back the other way. And this feels really good for me because I do so much arm work. And I can feel in my bicep, my forearm. And I'm trying to keep this all in one alignment. Very important. And just give it a light pressure. All right, cool. Now we're going to do hand on top and continue through. Go through these kind of faster. And my hand's on top. And then I'm rotating. See, I don't want to go like this, but here. So you have to be very careful. You want to do the setup before the actual contortion. Now, I did one side. I just want to do the other side. So I'm going to put my hand in the middle, twist, and line up. There we go. Then I'm going to go the other way because I like things being even. And then hold it. Put this hand on top. Remember, we start on the bottom, on top. I know you're smart, but I'm just saying, okay, we're just going with it. And then allow all the way from your shoulder. So it's not just a wrist, but it's the full arm. And you'll feel it. If you're not feeling your shoulder, if it's just the wrist, that's wrong. It's all the way to your shoulder, maybe even your back. And then I'm going to rotate through. And then this one's funky. And don't lose the continuity of your hand and wrist being in alignment. So this one may not go very far. Okay. And then we can just do, so let's just stop at that. Okay, next I'm just going to talk about the grip, especially on the Filipino stick, is that we're not all the way on the end here, and we're not way up, choked up too far, or even center, which might make too much sense, but I do like giving a little bit. Some people say a fist. You can go a fist and a half. So here would be a fist and then maybe a little bit more. And I like, with this one, there's like a cutout, which is cool. So I like holding, being able to have that grip, especially if it gets a little bit sweaty. So that's a little bit long there, but that's okay. And one thing that we don't do, and you see a lot of people like do this kind of stuff, don't ever do that. At least you can do it if you want, but I say don't. So I'm rotating and letting go. No. So the whole reason we do all these wrist warm-ups and stretches and alignment is because you never let go of your weapon. You never go like this. You never go like that. At least in real life. You can do it on your own, playing around or doing some goofy stuff, but no, that's an absolute no-no. So I have a never list for weapons. That's one of them. And so Another one is there may be a little bit of movement this way and this way, but I see people where they're like this, especially like with a sword, never. You will lose your weapon. So you want to stay in alignment whenever you're doing something. So there is some play, but my little finger, so it's like a vertical punch again. It's a punch, it's a fist, but now I'm holding on to something, but it's the same fist. That fist stays, and if you want, it stays in alignment more or less. So if I really want to hit someone down here, I don't go like this. I have to drop. This, it's a 90-degree angle. And like I said, there can be a little bit of play. There can be a little bit of play, but not a lot. So this strike, which is like called, and what's neat is you just number the strikes. Very, again, Filipino martial art things. So this is number 12 for most people. That's as far. So if I'm going to do 12, I would never, ever let this drop down. Drop. Oh, you get this best angle right here. To drop down and hit like this. Oh no. So my 12, if I'm going to hit this thing right here, that's as far as it goes. So maybe a little bit of flex, maybe, but not a whole lot. So we'll get into that in a second here. So the grip is even, it's relaxed. It's, some people say like with Tai Chi sword, or with the samurai or whatever, it's controlled here, up here, here, here. With at least my system idea, what I've been taught, is it's even all across the board. It's even, an even grip. So the energy comes from more, and we'll get into this, from the arm, maybe a little bit from the wrist, but not where it's controlled by the upper fingers or lower fingers. No. So think you're holding on to a weapon that's life and death. Are you going to play around with like, is it up or is it low? No, and no. So I'll just leave it at that. So the wrist can be relaxed, but the grip stays constant. It's not a tight grip. It's not a loose grip. Okay? It's Goldilocks. It's somewhere in the middle. It's in the middle. And when you hit something, you'll find out what it feels like. If I go too loose and it gets out of my hand, no good. If I'm tight, that actually hurts me. So it's in the middle to let the energy flow, but to keep control. Okay? So that's number 3. I have 5 here of explaining the grip. Have I missed anything? I don't think so. So, and the grip will go further into the next thing we're going to do. So I'm going to use some of the Filipino terms in the way that I do it. So one of the terms and ideas is called a floret. And a floret, I watched the guy do a floret where he's going to do a strike, then it circles, and then it continues down. Okay, cool. A lot of people do that. My floret is any type of conical, or what I call in the Japanese uzu, which means a vortex. So a vortex is 2 cones. That's why I said conical. So this part is circling, and this part is circling. And so it isn't just in a forward motion where I'm adding the floret. So I do it low. I'm striking and then circling and then continue the strike. My floret could be anywhere. So I'm circling anywhere. I'm making circles. How wide? You can go very wide, like a lasso almost, and you can do a little tight one, like a little tight one. So this is where my wrist, let's just say my grip is not, I'm not going like this, okay, with open hand. It stays connected. I would say that's the most important thing. So even if you go like that, as long as, I don't like this, but at least your fingers are connected. If I go like this and let go, it's gone. So weapon retention. I would say, I'm trying to look at it in degrees. That could be, if I'm looking from this angle to this angle, so from here to here, maybe 45, 40, 30 degrees, from here to here. So kind of a medium circle, and I'm making medium circles. So this is a training, And I can go with the wrist or more of the body, or even if I'm doing more body, so more like a internal qigong or bakwa or something, I'm starting from inside, very dragon-like. But you can just practice with the wrist also. So this is making a floret. This is very important, very important. So you can go anywhere you want to go with this and make circles. So I can go in reverse this way, or I'm going this way. In the Japanese, I call this a mote, and then I call this ura. And I'm using Japanese terms. It's okay. I'm going clockwise or counterclockwise. Okay. So, making the florets, practicing on both hands, warming up the wrist, feeling what a circle feels like, and then a strike. Okay. So, and then, so this is making the conical circle. The second circle that we're going to work on, and all we really need to work on is these two for what I'm going to be showing you. And there's different names, but this is I'm trying to make a perfect circle without going like this. We'll call this a vertical circle. You can almost say this isn't a horizontal circle, but we could make a horizontal, where it's horizontal, it's coming from the horizontal plane. This one, so that makes it a cone. But this one, especially if we're going forward, is I'm making a slice from top to bottom and over. So I don't, and it's not easy because you want to go like this. It turns into the floret, but this is a zero, or if you do it twice and you do it with more of the wrist, it's called a doble, which you're doing two circles, and you can reverse it, but try, and sometimes I do it cutting across. I'm trying to not keep my arms still, and then I can't do it, but I have to actually maybe move inwards. So here's the strike, and I have to move around, so I'm keeping this in a vertical line. This is very difficult. So if you do it, you'll find out. If you start looking, I'm doing it, and it's like way out. It's way out here. I don't know if that's the angle. Out there, that's not it. It has to look like a saw. We call it a circular saw. So we're trying to make a circular saw. You can do it from your side. You can do it cutting inside, even sideways here, this way. And this is a lot easier because our wrist and arm moves better that way, where I'm making a circle. But I'm trying to keep the weapon on a vertical plane, straight down, and you can actually move your whole body back and come over. Okay, so there's no need to do this fast, do it hard, hurt your wrist, strain something. No, so just take your time, and I'll go back a little bit here, is that I'm doing it forward here. See how I have to bring my arm in to try to keep this in a line. And then you can do it on the other side, where I'm trying to, and this side's actually a bit easier, where I'm trying to follow the same exact line. So I think a doble is when you're doing more wrist, and then a doblada, I forgot, is where you're using more of the arm, or more is just a bigger circle. And it means double circle. 0, 0 is double circle. I'm making 2 zeros. So 2 zeros. So work on these, and the biggest thing is when you get to here, you want to let go. Because you go, well, I want this to stay straight, so I'm going to let go of my finger. Don't do that. So that's where you start seeing why I'm working on the wrist warm-ups, getting your wrist flexible. So you're doing this circular movement. I'm going like this. It takes time, and it's development. But when you develop that and you feel the right grip and the right movement, and some people are better at this than others, where they can start and they can put the weapon right where they want it. Some people don't. They want to go over there, but it's striking over here, or over here when I really want it here. So I am working on this alignment. So think of this just as alignment training. The other one the flower movement is a part of moving through different strikes that we haven't worked on. So these are everything's a strike. This is a strike. This is an entry. This is an exit. This is a middle of the it doesn't matter. Everything is a strike. So there I did a floret and then a zero. So those, it's more important just to understand those two pieces. If you just work on those two, so very easy, just the warm-ups, work on those two pieces, those two types of circles, and other things will become very, very powerful. Make sure you do your left hand. I've been doing the right hand, so I always do my left, and it feels uncoordinated, and just most of us are right-handed, so do your left hand. And then we'll get into a little bit more. Video 2 is going to be of this part of actual application, or whatever we want to call it. Form in motion, that's what I call it. We're going to work on some figure eights, which will be those two pieces put together, my figure eight, and there's a lot of them. And then we'll get into strike, and different types of strikes, and in combinations, and then incorporating the weapon with a open hand strike, because this is all about the single stick, not double. All right, that is about it. If you have any questions, comment me, or you can get a hold of me at sifu@blackdragonmoderncombat.com. You can look at the website, say hello, whatever. If you're doing something, make a video, let me see it. I've been asking, nobody's done it. I'm going to keep asking. Someday somebody's going to do it for me. They're going to go, oh, let me show you what I've worked on. So that's cool. And like I said, look at other videos. Look at what other people are doing. But don't, if you're just starting this, just work on what I'm showing you. Don't try to go too far, get into all the abanico and no need for that. The training is the most important. The structural forging internal training is the most important part of anything. And then we can work our way out from there, and you can go further. So I say go through the program that I'm showing you, and you'll get a lot. Then you can start exploring outwards, looking for a school, whatever you want to do, or just keep doing this. So you'll learn a lot. Trust me, I'm going to go through a whole bunch of different combination strikes with open hand and the weapon, and it's meant for self-defense, meant for combat. And so that's it. Anyways, it's been a long video. That's how I do them. Someday I'll do a shorter video, but that's not today. So have a nice evening, and we will see you on the next one, which again will be working on a couple figure eights. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.